When Anbernic RG DS first started reaching people, the biggest complaint was the software. The stock system had some strange issues. The two screens didn't always stay perfectly in sync, and the overall interface felt rough around the edges. But that situation changed with custom firmware. Gamma OS replaces the stock Android build. It adds a bunch of system improvements and gives you a cleaner environment to work with. If someone enjoys experimenting with apps, multitasking, or tweaking settings, but wants to stay on a familiar system like Android, this route gives you exactly that. The system can even treat the two screens as a single combined display in certain situations, which helps reduce latency between them. Rocknix runs entirely from a micro SD card, so the internal system doesn't even need to be touched. When the device boots into Rocknix, it skips the typical Android phone-style interface and instead loads straight into an emulation front end. The whole thing feels closer to using a real handheld console. Screen sync issues that showed up on the stock firmware are mostly gone, and the device can push DS games at a higher internal resolution without struggling. Even heavier DS titles seem to run fine at around 2 times resolution. Fast forward also works surprisingly well. The system can push the speed pretty high without breaking gameplay, so if someone likes grinding through RPG sections or skipping slower moments, it handles that nicely. Touchscreen responsiveness also improves a lot compared to the original system software. Games that rely on quick taps or rhythm input feel much closer to original hardware. Outside of DS games, the system can still run other platforms pretty comfortably. It can handle things like PS1 or older systems without much trouble, but pushing higher systems tends to make the device warmer. Battery life is also fairly reasonable. With DS games running at higher resolution and a little heavy use, the device usually lasts around 5 hours of playtime. When it comes to custom firmware, both options improve the RG DS a lot, but they serve slightly different purposes. Rocknix is usually the better choice if the goal is pure gaming. It boots straight into an emulation interface, runs Nintendo DS games very smoothly with a drastic emulator, and handles older systems like PS1, GBA, and N64 without much trouble. The system feels closer to using a dedicated handheld. Gamma, on the other hand, keeps the Android environment but cleans it up and adds useful features. It allows multitasking, Android apps, and more flexibility with how both screens are used. So in simple terms, Rocknix is better for a focused gaming experience, while Gamma OS is better for extra features of Android. So is the RG DS actually worth buying now? After everything that changed with the software, I'd say the answer is yes. Aside from all those improvements, price is another big reason the RG DS is getting attention. The base model launched around $93 to $99, depending on where you buy it, with higher bundles including SD cards costing a bit more. For a dual-screen handheld, that price is actually very aggressive. Most other dual-screen devices are several times more expensive. Availability is also fairly straightforward right now. You can usually find it through Anbernic store or marketplaces like AliExpress, and many retailers started shipping units toward the end of 2025 after the pre-order period finished. So at roughly around $100, you're basically paying for a modern DS-style handheld that runs DS games really well and handles older systems without much trouble. This device has a very clear purpose. You shouldn't buy the RG DS expecting high-end emulation. If your goal is to relive DS games with a proper dual-screen layout, this is one of the most affordable ways to do it on modern hardware. The clamshell design, matching screens, and stylus input give you something that feels much closer to the real DS experience than most other handhelds. And after the custom firmware improvements, the RG DS finally feels like the device it was supposed to be from the beginning.